Fuck yeah, Spider-Man's on TV. I'm making you a food doggy. I'm making you a food doggy. Cece, come here. Cece, where are you, Cece? I'm making your food, Cece. Where are you, Bluetooth? Oh, you chewing yourself. Okay.
In those times, we had to go somewhere to get food, otherwise we weren't going to make it. My parents were working as hard as they could, but we just weren't going to make it. So one of the ways that helped was Project Open Hand. And this is not a sponsorship. They did not approach me. I'm telling you this story because it happened.
Stop it. Stop it.
Project Open Hand was there and gave us food. We had wheat bread.
Ah!
Aloha nerds, and welcome back to TheSalawag's Why It's Great. On this episode, I'm talking about Baby Driver. Alright everybody, I love Edgar Wright's work. Edgar Wright is the director of Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, At World's End. He's a really fantastic director. I think people do know his name, and he does have a following. Not quite a household name. No one's saying his name like Christopher Nolan, but I think people are going to. I think Edgar Wright is a director of style. He reminds me a bit of Sam Raimi in that kind of really great visual control style. But just to sort of give you a brief spoiler-free review, great fucking movie. Great time. It's very much an action movie of today, but really good use of camera and stuff and use of taking the time to explain characters, and not explain characters, but to show characters in their place, how they're doing, why they think the way they think. Everyone is a character. Everyone has a point of view, and it's really fun to watch these characters bounce against each other. There's a reference in the movie made to Goodfellas. And it definitely feels like a fun time, Goodfellas. So if you want to see the movie, great time, really active. There's a title sequence. I don't even notice the titles because the camera's moving around and we're seeing so much stuff going on. It's so much fun. And the music is a character in the movie. I saw it with my friend, and we talked about how the music is a character in the movie, where the music itself is sort of a part of the experience, not just amplifying the fun, but a part of the experience. So, spoiler free, go see Baby Driver. It's a great time. Now we're getting to the spoiler shit. Now, this show is a very technical show. So if you're just after emotional reactions, I recommend Kinda Funny or something like that. Something where they're going to react in the way that you kind of want to get excited and stuff like that. I'm really here to just talk about the filmmaking techniques and storytelling choices that make my favorite films great. And you can do your own why it's great about your favorite films, but I'm talking about my favorite films. I'm TheSalawag, my show. This is an open invitation. You can take the why it's great out of my logo, put your name over it and your city skyline, and make your own video. But this is my why it's great. And this show is for free. It's for everyone. But, so technical shit. Alright, so spoilers. The opening scene, what I love about it is that we're introduced to this guy. He's just sitting in a car alone, and he's listening to music, and he's rocking, and he's cool, and then he gets out, and we follow him in this really long one take, walking around, and we see the way he interacts with his environment, that he's very smooth, he sort of slickly weaves between people, and kind of he's listening to his music and he's moving around and he's dancing, and it's all very fun. We're all having a very good time. But technically, that's an achievement. It is if you think about any film shoot and how much work has to be done, that is an achievement to get that long of a shot. And is it all actually one long shot? I don't know yet. That's why the thumbnail's in color, because I haven't looked at the special features yet. But it's a great way to establish a character visual. Show a character who's very fluid in everything he does. It's just the way he is. His mind seems to be kind of hyperactive. He's very attentive of what's around him. But also, this is a character setup. The reason we're seeing that kind of camera shot is because this is a setup for how the character is. Because later in the movie, after he's endured some stuff, he reaches a point where he wants to stop. Again, if you're for some reason watching this and you didn't hear spoiler, he's a getaway driver. I know it's in the thing, and spoiler, it's also in the trailer, but he doesn't want to be a getaway driver. After he hits a point, a few significant events happen in the movie. He falls in love with Lily James, who was amazing in Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. You should watch that too. He falls in love with her, and he starts to realize how badly he wants to get out of the game. And when he sort of hits that moment of wanting to get out, that one shot that I was talking about where he's walking around weaving through people, he was getting coffee. He was just getting coffee. But after events have happened that wake him up and snap him out, all of a sudden we're seeing the same location where he was weaving around with the coffee. Same location, same window that he passes by. And in the earlier scene, he looks at himself in the mirror with sunglasses. He's having a good time. In this later scene, now the camera's still. And he's not weaving around. He's just stiff. And he's beat. And he bumps into a guy. And it's there. I talk about visual consistency in my last video. We have this visual scene that helps us understand his character, and the point of that is to make later scenes when he's in a different state of mind more significant, more powerful. Because if you just saw him shot regularly, just walking around smoothly getting through between people, that film language isn't quite as effective. Now it's very fun, and you can call Edgar Wright a great director just for having a cool one shot. That's not the purpose of having a cool one shot. The purpose is to show the character in their natural state of mind. You think about the opening of Hot Fuzz, and it's just this locked off shot of Simon Pegg out of focus walking into focus. And he's very serious and he's very intense. And that shows the director's range, that each time he does a movie, he sets the character up with the film language that establishes them, that you will follow for the rest of the movie and be able to identify that film language every single time the way they act. Shaun of the Dead, also very locked off, also using lots of different shots. Shaun of the Dead starts off with that sort of zombie walk of feet, and then the camera tilts up and we see, oh, I'm yawning. And that's a very different introduction of Simon Pegg from Hot Fuzz. So the camera language is telling us something each time. And in the case of the Shaun of the Dead, of watching the feet, it's a false setup. It's a setup of, oh, he's a zombie. Oh, no, he's alive. Oh, no, through a montage, he still feels like a zombie. He's going through life, doing work and all this. And the film language you use, using a montage or using a long one-take camera shot, that is what creates the effect in your head that allows you to understand who this character is. And so I think Baby Driver is really Edgar Wright's most mature movie. I think he really had solid control of his filmmaking. I feel like this doesn't feel like his other movies, but there's these Edgar Wright isms that are his movie. But I think that's the great thing. Like, Scott Pilgrim versus the World does not feel like Hot Fuzz. It doesn't feel like Shaun of the Dead. It doesn't feel like At World's End. Each movie is its own distinct movie, and it has its own distinct film language. Scott Pilgrim had video game language all over the place, and that's what made that movie so stand out so much and be such a pop. Because I think what's great about Edgar Wright as a filmmaker is he understands that you can't use the same film language for every movie. You have to change the language to fit the story you're telling. And in this case, for Baby Driver, we had this sort of fun time gangster story that we've kind of gotten used to with other filmmakers and the way they do it. It's always The Godfather or, Scarface. It's always sort of the same thing being done again. Miami Vice, like it's either 80s or 60s. And what I liked about this is that we kind of went back to the sort of hard-nosed Goodfellas type characters, but it felt like today, like listening to the iPods, and there's even these flashbacks that are beautifully shot and often don't have any sound. There's really great command of the medium in Baby Driver, and sort of that kind of control over the filmmaking, I think, is really indicative of like someone who, if you think Baby Driver is great, I can't wait for Edgar Wright's next movie, because just the way he developed each character was so distinct. I'm kind of going all over the place because the movie really was great. Jamie Foxx playing what in Horrible Bosses was a spoof character. Jamie Foxx plays the actual serious, real-life version of that character. And at first, he doesn't scare me. At first, I'm really relaxed. I'm like, that's Jamie Foxx. I love this guy. Great actor, blah, blah, blah. But as the story goes on, we see that every time Jamie Foxx does a job, spoiler, 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 every time Jamie Foxx does a job, someone dies. And it becomes increasingly... and Baby Driver himself becomes increasingly aware that he could be next. That this guy is kind of looking for any opportunity to kill somebody. And they actually do have scenes where everyone sort of reveals who they are a bit. And what I thought was really cool was that they set up Baby Driver's sort of... everything he does is in sync with his music. So that following camera shot, every move that Baby makes is part of the music, and it's part of what makes his flow. And that's when he's driving around, that music helps him just sort of focus, and he moves to the music, and it sort of gives him this sort of universal access to himself and his skills and his ability. And when he doesn't have the music, or it's not timed right, he's messed up. In that shot, that's still where he bumps into the guy, there's no music. And with Jamie Foxx's character, who's always killing someone, there's a scene where they end up killing a whole bunch of guys who they weren't supposed to kill. And Jamie Foxx, and at the time, Baby had turned on some music, and Jamie Foxx listened to it for a bit. I was like, oh, interesting choice. And after killing all these people, they all get back in the car again, and Jamie Foxx says a line from the song at the exact moment that it happens in the song. And that consistency tells us as the audience member that Jamie Foxx is just as good as Baby is, but instead of being as good with the car, he's good with the gun. And that is really what makes him terrifying, is that we see that these two characters are head-to-head with each other. But one has a very violent outlook on life, and the other happens to help people who are very violent. And that's what the director is doing when he's creating those shots and when he's creating the rules of the film in your head. What I hate about a lot of movie reviews is that they compare movies to other movies. But you have to judge, what Guillermo del Toro said is that you have to judge every movie by itself, by the rules that the movie itself sets up. And this was Edgar Wright's rules. Like, this is a guy who listens to music, everything he does is in sync with music, and that's what creates his expertise. And when we understand that, we get the equal understanding of other characters when they have the same talent. And that is what makes Jamie Foxx scary. That tequila. That's what makes him scary, because we understand Baby Driver, so now we have a sort of way to understand Jamie Foxx. So that kind of setup, payoff stuff, the visual consistency, all of that, everything I've talked about in all of my reviews up till now, I think definitely applies to Baby Driver. Definitely, story was told through everyone's performances. All the performances were great. I loved Eiza Gonzalez. I loved John Hamm. Lily James, again, so great. Oh, and of course Kevin Spacey's great. He's always great. So yeah, that's the technical side of what I thought was great about Baby Driver. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy it, rightfully so, give me a thumbs down. And yeah, I'm stealing that from Colin. Stealing that from Colin's Last Stand. But yeah, thank you for watching. Baby Driver, I think, is a great movie. Maybe not Godfather great, but definitely Goodfellas great. You know, it's pretty fucking good. So, Edgar Wright, thank you so much. Thank you for making movies full of joy and fun, and really knowing how to tell stories with your characters and performances. So, hats off. Go see Baby Driver. It's good.